Hello. We have one of the best Spanish-speaking ufologists, at least from my point of view, in Sixto Paz here with us now. Ufologists are people who study the UFO phenomenon. Sixto is a person who deserves to be heard when he talks about if there is life on other planets or not. There are some principles that he and other teachers mention, such as Bob Proctor, among others, and I would like for you to listen. If at any time you do not agree with what you are hearing or think that there is a lot of fantasy or unreal things, I invite you to open your mind. Do not believe in everything you hear. Investigate, look for more information, look for him too, and see his career and enjoy this episode. What would be the worst that could happen? In the end, they are all experiences, and they will have information that is valuable from my point of view, so I am very happy and very grateful to Sixto for having accepted this interview. As I mentioned a few seconds ago, today is a very special episode.
Thank you, Christian, for the opportunity. And well, after so many years, 49 years now, this January 22nd, the contact continues.
Very good, Sixto. Tell us a little bit about your history and how this issue of the first contacts you have had was and how they are maintained to date. Tell us a little. What do you think is the main message you have to convey?
Well, firstly, that the world is not going to end, that the world is going to be transformed. In fact, it is already being transformed from the number of committed people who are becoming aware and who are putting their best. The way to generate change is the least of it. The form does not matter. The technique does not matter. What is important is the attitude. If you believe in change and commit to change in such a way that you end up being an agent of change and transformation, you generate a chain reaction of unimaginable proportions. The best example is that on November 11th of 2011, a worldwide call was made. Hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people. We joined in prayer and meditation to try to create a positive, collective state of mind that would reverse everything that had been announced as a planetary future. Even NASA had helped scare people by saying that the most terrible solar storm was coming in 2012. Inside the scale was going to be the most powerful. It was going to fry the planet. But because people joined together, meditated, sent a lot of light to the planet, each one in their own way. And between March 5th and 6th of 2012, the most terrible solar storm occurred. That is, it could not have been prevented from happening. But the shock wave was expected to reach Earth within 24 hours and fry the planet. However, nothing has happened so far. Scientists cannot explain why nothing happened. That is, the storm occurred, but it did not affect us in the slightest. So that, what did the scientists say? Well, after an exhaustive study of a deep analysis, that we have had good luck. That is, you have to be a scientist to say that we have had good luck. Because they cannot explain how the collective unconscious, the morphic resonance, we could say, the fact that so many people unite with the same intention can create a positive collective mental state, which can change events. One of the first messages that the extraterrestrials beings gave us in the year 74, when all this experience began, it was that the prophecies have not been given to be fulfilled, but so that they are not fulfilled. It is always to warn, to correct that. If the future were inexorable, what would be the most sacred thing that the human being has received from God, which is free will? So the last word is never said. Individual prophecies are easier to modify, and that the collective ones, they are not impossible. It really requires the participation of a lot of people, and also not too many people, that is. If we base ourselves on the theory of the 100th monkey, in how statisticians and mathematicians talk about the square root of the total of the collective of a population of the world like ours, of more than 8 billion people. We would only need about 89,662 people who will think positive. Now, to achieve a change in consciousness and for the change to be irreversible, the double. No one now one says, but how easy it is, isn't it? Well, how easy isn't it? 144,000 people, about 150,000 people. And one may say, is easy to achieve. What it is not easy to achieve is that people remain constant and do not allow themselves to be swept away by the most contagious and destructive disease, worse than AIDS or that even cancer of today, which is pessimism, depression, and negativity. You have to believe in change and contribute your best to stay in that change by changing, and you don't worry because the world changes. You change and the world will change. There is a universal law that thousands of years ago was taught by Hermes Trismegisto, taught the Atlantean, a half-breed between extraterrestrials and human beings from the earth. That universal law is that the law of correspondence, as it is above, so it is below, and vice versa. Do you want to know how the universe works? Know yourself. Do you want the universe to change? You change yourself. Everything starts with one and through one.
I totally agree with you and what you say. These messages seem super powerful to me because I believe that anyone can take advantage of them beyond their beliefs. I wanted to ask you another question, and that is, please tell us a little bit about, for example, pessimism, which is one of the worst diseases that exist today, which I also agree with.
And it spreads easily.
Absolutely.
Because you start to make negative comments about something, and when you least expect it, when you least expect everything, the language and the whole environment is negative. You have to be able to see the glass half full and not half empty. It is true that there are many things that are, we could say, very dark and the world scene, but another of the universal laws that Hermes Trismegisto taught us in the ancient Egypt is already the law of the rhythm, that everything is subject to fluctuations. Everything comes and goes, and the darker the night, signs that the day is closer. If the outlook is so complicated, it is because something good and positive is about to happen.
What you are talking about reminds me a lot of a book called The Kybalion. I don't know if you have read it.
Of course, naturally, there are already 3 initiates, and what they do is rescue the wisdom of ancient Egypt. Well, you know that I studied history at the university, and really my passion was always ancient history. I have had the opportunity to be there 22 times in Egypt, and I have traveled through Egypt from Alexandria to the border with the Sudan. I have done it by camel, by donkey, by train, and the most dangerous of all, by taxi. Yes, then before these 22 trips made to Egypt, I have tried to tune in, synchronize myself with the hidden history, and that through practical techniques. Also, meditation, especially a type of technique that we called dermoptic, skin optics through the skin, vision through the skin. Interpol, Scotland Yard, FBI use psychics to solve criminal cases that cannot be solved by the normal way. People who can place an object and by touching the object can tune into the vibration of the owner of the object, of the one who last carried the object. And you can tell if the person is alive, he's dead, he's near, he's far. You can pick up a piece of pottery and describe what the whole picture looked like. He can pick up a shard from a statue and tell you which statue it belongs to. All this through precisely dermal, skin, and optics, vision through the touch of the skin, with the skin. You develop your full psychic potential by simply, you have to know that it exists, believe that you can, and want to be able to do it. Positive mind, practice, practice, and practice.
One question, you were talking about pessimism, and we were talking about all this together and about the laws of the universe, so to speak. And I wanted to ask you, for example, aliens have been able to develop this kind of ability, correct? And they also have a pessimistic mind? Do you agree that pessimism no longer exists in these more advanced societies? What have you been able to do?
This objectivity should not be confused with pessimism. There are times when it seems that a very objective person can be pessimistic. Usually, when we know about the calculated risks, he already knows about the difficulties, and then he seems to have a pessimistic line, and he's not. But those 7 universal laws are the beginning of mentalism. You can create what you believe. If we believe in positive things, we attract to our lives positive things. Now, talking about these differences between the spheres, between what we call the caneplas, generally known like the Foo Fighters, they are like drones, aliens. They are like remote controlled television cameras. They are visible to the human eye, and they can go through a wall. They can enter a house because they materialize and dematerialize. But the orbs are something else. The orbs are beings from other planes or other dimensions, even disembodied people. You take a picture, you didn't see anything, and suddenly a little ball appears, and if you approach it, you see like a face inside sometimes. From the bounce of the light, from the flash of the camera, and particles suspended in the air. It can be dust, it can be this, or sometimes in a metallic object. But there are times when the moisture rebounds in the air, then there are beings from other planes and other dimensions. The orbs then, or caneplas of Foo Fighters, can be red, yellow, green, blue. They can be round, they can be like this one with little antennas in. So the shape of the coronavirus is in fashion, and it can also be rhomboidal. It can be very different shapes. Well, well, thank you very much for your patience, and also all those people who have been collaborating, sending their contributions, their donations, both through bank transfers, through PayPal accounts. Thank you. May God bless you and multiply your generosity with blessings. What this is allowing me to continue sharing and spreading the message. Thank you. Thank you very much.